Electoral Commission headquarters for an update, and my colleague Michael actually joining us live for some interaction. Papa Nim, if you are there, welcome to the pulse here.
Thank you, Elson.
Right, so I understand that the meeting is over, and we do know that it was held behind closed doors. What did you get from the meeting?
So, just as we said, clearly the political parties are sharply divided on whether to go ahead with the EC's plan to bring the elections at least 1 month forward, as we are used to. You know that regularly it's a December 7th election, but they want to bring it as in front to November 7th. But they've stated some reasons in the past that we know. The first one is that to give them ample time to be able to put measures in place, should in case we have a runoff in the elections. Secondly, they have heard from some of the religious groups who are pushing for this to also come forward, because they think that this year's December 7th particularly falls on a Saturday. So you have the SDA, for instance, who says that it's not a day that they want to participate in any elections, so they want you to come forward. So these are some of the reasons, but we have heard from some of the political parties. Let's start from the NDC, who tell me that, well, they are not for such a policy because they are not in a rush to get Ghanaians to change the dates that they want elections to be held. We can listen to the director of elections for the NDC, Edward Omani Uwama, who said that the NDC as it stands is for November 7th only for the 2028 elections, which is 4 years' time.
The overwhelming consensus was that, considering all that the EC has to do between now and the next general elections, presidential and parliamentary, the EC will be biting more than it can chew as an institution if it wanted to add the needed parliamentary processes to change the dates for the elections. In terms of the day of the election, it's something that we all discuss, and we are all men and women of faith. So we take issues of religion seriously. And we felt that it is something that should be subjected to a broader national discussion so that all shades of opinion can be factored into it for the appropriate decision to be taken. With all that said, for the election day being a holiday, we felt it is not really necessary, but if others think it must be done, even though we have too many holidays in the year, if others feel it must be done, it can be considered. So I would say that the overwhelming consensus was that we should stick to what we have. But the EC should not wait again like the EC waited after the 2016 elections. The EC could have pushed these reforms in 2017, 2018, and 2019, and not in an election year.
You see, on a serious note, New Patriotic Party programs are EC beye namra kwanso a ebema e democracy etumpono ye gitum. Parties ni nyina state on position. Ebi say yes 2024 yentwemra November. Ebi say yentwentwen so ne mfanko 2028. Ye position say EC de beba November 2024 7 yeni ho problem. Ye betwen akosi say EC be publish ne program of action eno ye bi hu anamwa e betu se me no kasa de ma obia nkonko kan oba say there was consensus say my EC ensesa parties na STT position New Patriotic Party say yegitum NDC for say omonjintum. The other issue ne say SSE edano ye twen free on a holiday and ama enya holiday eno de parties no sign many same say ebi so a holiday boa ebi say a holiday ehunhia you say to the extent cross the New Patriotic Party you say it could be a working holiday because the NDC for aibida enti de ebeboa ama obi a watchro ni din so oto aba benya akwanya ato aba eno ne ade a esese ye nyina aboa na ekoso enti ene discussion no a follow up from last week discussion say decision a EC person de ba no parties enko consulting no momra ye share no parties in San State position sa enye conclusive say SSA ye November 4-7 and say bibi the war any December 7 New Patriotic Party nanke pe change said the EC can say emna December November 7 and Kobasa.
Right, so that was the MPP Director of Elections, Evans Nimako, explaining the party's position on the proposal by the Electoral Commission to have the date for the election moved from December to November. And earlier you also heard the NDC Director of Elections, Dr. Omar, also explaining the party's position as far as the proposal by the Electoral Commission is concerned. But what exactly are the issues behind the positions taken by the various political parties, the NDCs and the MPP? Let's go on the phone lines now. And then joining me is Mustafa Gbande. He's a Deputy General Secretary of the NDC. We'll also be joined by Evans Nimako, who is the Director of Elections with the governing MPP. Mr. Gbande, good afternoon. Welcome to the Pulse. Right. Let me see if I can also bring in the MPP Director of Elections, Evans Nimako. Mr. Nimako, if you can hear me, good afternoon. Right, so we don't have them yet, but we'll bring them on so that they can tell exactly the reasons behind the position they've taken. But let me bring in David Agui, who is Executive Director, Ghana Institute of Governance and Security. David, you're welcome to the Pulse here on Joy News.
Yeah, thank you so much, Elton.
Are you in favor or against the proposal by the Electoral Commission to have the 2024 election move from December to November?
It depends on what the various political parties on the table during our party, and as to whether or not the parties will actually be in tandem or in support of the proposal put before the political parties. I say so based on the fact that I thought that the political parties should have been very proactive enough of setting a certain agenda for the Electoral Commission to actually follow. To set the agenda, the political parties need to evaluate the previous elections, especially election 2020, election 2016, and see what has been the challenges as far as the elections were actually concerned. And doing prognosis, then you will be able to say that, yes, going into 2024, these are some of the things that need to be tabled before the Electoral Commission for them to actually, consider it. Because if the political parties are able to do a comprehensive assessment of the previous elections, then they'll be able to analyze it very well and put something on the table for the Electoral Commission to also take it on board. But if the political parties are not doing that, and it is the Electoral Commission which is leading, then obviously what the Electoral Commission is putting on the table is what needs to be digested to be able to come out to the appreciation that, yes, it is good or not. So if you ask me specifically, I would say that as we speak now, it is all about the circumstances. If you look at NDC argument and MPP's argument, it is all about who is to cheat each other as far as the election is concerned going into 2024. The ruling party will say that, yes, if it is November 7, they will appreciate it so much because the calculation is that if the election is to go into a runoff, the ruling party will have an upper hand over the opposition party. So the opposition parties are also afraid that if it is the ruling party setting the agenda for them, obviously going into the runoff, the ruling party has a lot of goodies. They have a lot of financial inducement which they can package it very well to be able to win the election. So it is all about the advantages of both the major political parties, MPP and NDC. If it is put on 7th of November, the ruling party will be in a jubilant mood. And if it is put in the month of December, which is the normal election period here, I think that the opposition party will also support it. So, per my readings of what is happening, it is as a result of the fact that the political parties are not setting the agenda. And so it is the EC setting the agenda. That is how come this issue is creating a bit of controversies and misunderstanding.
I'll hear directly from the NDC. the reasons for the opposition to this proposal by the Electoral Commission. But let me put in context that this is not new. But it's been on the book since 2015. The EC is only seeking to advance it. That is the explanation they've provided. And the reason is that if in the event of a runoff, it will provide them with ample time to plan and execute the runoff in a more transparent and effective way. That has been the writing principle behind the proposal by the EC to have this institutionalized. But remember that it is just going to be a simple walk in the park. I mean, this will have to require some constitutional amendments to make it binding.
I agree, because myself and you were assigned together 2015, 2008, and so that was the time that when the election went on runoff almost on 3 occasions, that was the time that the political parties realizes that they need to be able to put something on the table for Electoral Commission to actually deliberate whether they can actually shift the normal voting period in December to November, such that it can help the winner and the loser to also hand over, peacefully. Because we realize that the handing over period, it is very, very short. And so if the timetable is shifted to November, it will give an ample time for the ruling party and the opposition party to, one way or the other, the handing over will be done, in a proper context.
David, let me ask a final question so that I can let you go. The other argument is also about whether 2024 is the ideal time, or perhaps we should set the framework and allow it to take effect in 2028. What is your position on this?
I strongly believe that Ghanaians are calling for a reform in our electoral process. And more to the point, our constitution, Ghanaians are saying that we need to amend the constitution. And so any political party who will win the election 2024 has that onerous responsibility to ensure that we have referendum such that we can be able to amend the constitution. And amending the constitution, we should have a date that says that if it is November, we should have election in November. If it is in December, we should be able to maintain the status quo. But I strongly believe that if we are able to do it like the way other nations or other countries have done it, in the United States, for instance, they have Tuesdays. Most of the time they vote on Tuesdays, which any of the religious entities will not come to clamor to say that as for us, we are Adventists, as for us, we are Pentecostals, as for us, we are Orthodox churches here and there. So if we are able to formalize it in that way, such that holistically we'll be able to put it into the Constitution or the amended version of the Constitution probably in 2025, I would prefer that one.
All right, thank you very much, David Agui. He is a executive director with the Ghana Institute of Security. You heard him make the point. But again, the Electoral Commission position is that this is a 2015 proposal that they are seeking to advance. And the expectation is that if this is able to go through the necessary constitutional amendments and it becomes law, then the election will move from December to November. In the event of a runoff, they will have ample time to plan and execute it, and also allow for smooth transition of power between the outgoing and the incoming. These are the parameters within which the Electoral Commission is seeking to move this. There's been concerns about whether or not 2024 is the ideal time, or the issues should consider moving into 2028, and whether and people are even questioning the rationale behind this whole exercise. We'll hear shortly from the NDC's Deputy General Secretary Musa Bogbande, who was at this IPAC meeting, and also hopefully hear what you think. You can send us your comments via our social media handles on Facebook, on X, and of course on our social media handles. But in the studio this afternoon is the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, Mustafa Haruna. Mustafa, you're welcome.
Oh, that's Haruna Mohammed.
Haruna Mohammed.
Opposite side.
Sorry. Haruna Mohammed is the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP. We're going to talk about the weekend parliamentary primaries, but we were just on this subject matter that's also of interest to the NPP. Your party has made it clear that they are in support of what the EC wants to do. Why is it so?
Thank you very much. I would first and foremost say good afternoon to your cherished viewers and the management of multimedia. I think that this proposal has been on the table for a long time, as you can hear from the Electoral Commission. that this is a 2015 proposal. And if you look at the contribution of the New Patriotic Party to political reforms in Ghana, we have continually made sure that either we are in government or in our opposition, we prefer better solutions to issues that affect negatively our political system or our election systems. So for Electoral Commission to come with this particular proposal, having decided that we are going to support this particular proposal, we went through and thought through a number of issues. One, you are talking about how power changes from one party to another or from one government to another in case it is the same party. It takes a number of time. The committees that are put in place needs to acquaint themselves with so many other handing over notes to be able to ascertain and verify some of these issues before governance starts. So given that particular time period, I think that it is very proper that if we are able to work out the constitutional modalities to be able to set this particular time, as David has said, so that we institutionalize the date so that at least it would not have any implication or any otherwise on the political system.
So therefore, your support in the direction relates to the timing and the flexibility within which the EC can operate and the political parties.
If you look at 2008, there was that possibility that we could even go extra runoff because we
actually went to 10.
Yes,
after the runoff.
After the runoff. So an extended period could give us ample time to be able to decide as to what happened. If you also look at other countries, the US and other, I think that they are doing in November.
Yes, it's in November.
And if you look at Nigeria, all of that, you factor that into it and look at the handing over time. It gives ample time for verification.
But the US, after the November, the swearing in is in February. So it gives a lot of time for...
So a lot of time is there, verification. This is handing over. You need to read and read through, verify, and then be able to ascertain the veracity of many other issues, even if you are handing over to yourself. You need to verify a number of things that will be able to give you the opportunity to attend to them when you sit on the chair. So these issues put together, I think that will be able to help this country in terms of electoral reforms to be able to move on. The proposal of EC is not complete in its own, right? Because it has to go through some legal processes, as in going to Parliament.
Fortunately, this is not an entrenched clause, so therefore it doesn't require a certain number to get it amended.
But definitely it has to go.
Of course,
it has to go through some process. So it's a proposal. I believe that all of us, we can disagree to agree. And I think that particular process will definitely take its natural course.
Your opponents, the NDC, say that they are against it. One of the issues they are raising is about timing. They say that if they will consider it at all, let's look at 2028.
This is a proposal that was made in 2015. And you can see that they are the same party that was in government at that particular time. So if they are talking about timing, then the argument falls flat of the fact, because they know exactly what it was when the proposal was brought up. This is not the first time we are discussing elections to be moved to 7th November. This is not the first time. 2015, it was an argument, and they were in power, and it was closer. We wanted it in 2016. It did not happen. This is the very time that all of us has to collectively agree to make sure that we agree and move it to that particular date and give it a constitutional backing so that it can solidify the force of the election process that we are all looking at for.
So therefore, are you hoping that the EC will fast-track this so that it happens in 2024?
We need to build consensus, and that is why the NDC, everybody will have to profile the reasons why they are either for or against. And I believe that when the NDC make their argument, and then we also make our argument, and the Electoral Commission also put forward with that other parties, it is not only MPP, NDC.
Exactly.
We have other stakeholders who will contribute, just as we have governance bodies, media, and what have you. All of us has to contribute to this discussion. And all of us contributing to it will shape the discussion forward and give us a very good side that we will all learn, and it will benefit the people of Ghana.
Now that we are discussing issues ahead of the December elections, I'm getting text messages, and I guess it's coming from people who live outside the country, and they are asking whether you are before the Electoral Commission under the umbrella of IPAC. What are you also doing to ensure that the Representation of People's Amendment Law, ROPA, is also implemented? I don't know whether the party has a position on that.
We have always been the party. We're the first party to bring this particular matter up for us to give the opportunity to people living abroad to participate. As I sit here, I don't know the level at which this particular bill has reached, and I'm unable to proceed to be able to speak to that matter because I am not availed to the fact as to where the bill has reached, what is the current state of that, and then what next to happen. But as a party, we believe that it's a right thing, it's a good thing if it is also taken up quickly and looked at, so that we, the political parties, can make proper positions on this, and then this can be continued to be put into law.
All right, so Haruna Mohammed is the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP. Is here with me in the studio as we look at the current political issues. One is the just ended Inter-Party Advisory Committee meeting held under the auspices of the Electoral Commission, and the EC again brought forth the proposal to have the election date moved from December to November, and to also allow for the day to be declared a national holiday. They are seeking the buy-in of the political parties before perhaps the Attorney General takes a CI to Parliament to see to the amendment of the provision in the Constitution to allow it to materialize and institutionalize in our political calendar. The Electoral Commission, they are moving on with this proposal. The NDC, they made it clear that they are not in support of it, at least for now. Their position is that if they will support its implementation at all, it has to be in 2028 and not the 2024 election. The NPP, they've thrown their weight behind it, supporting 100% and saying that the EC should get the support of all the other political parties so that in December, rather it will come to November. So what exactly are people saying? What is the position of you watching us right now? We put the question to some Ghanaians on the streets of Accra, and this is the outcome of our poll. So the question was, the Electoral Commission is seeking to move election day from December 7th to November 7th. The EC also wants election day to be declared a public holiday. And 22 hours more left for you to respond to the question. But as at about an hour ago, 772 people have voted, and 32.3% are in support of the Electoral Commission's proposal to have the election moved from December to November. Those who are against it and want the status quo remain, they are 27.2%, and those who don't care at all, 40.5%. They don't care whether it is held in December or in November, 40.5%. So clearly, more like a divided opinion on that, and they are providing reasons why, whether they are for or against, or they don't really care whichever date the EC settle on to hold the 2024 election. You can join you can go to our Facebook page, Joy News, and then respond to the question as you have put it, whether you want the elections held, whether you want the status quo remain, or you want the election held in November instead of the December. Your comments are welcome. And as we move on, we'll try and bring on the NDC's Deputy General Secretary, Musa Babandi, to tell us why the NDC have taken this defiant position against the proposal put forth by the Electoral Commission. But this afternoon also, we are looking at the MPP. And of course, the just ended parliamentary primaries that saw 48 people who will not be joining the 9th Parliament. We'll have that conversation very soon. Stay right there. Welcome back. This is a pause here on Joy News. Now, the governing New Patriotic Party has declared February the month of reconciliation as it acknowledges the outcome of last weekend's parliamentary primaries that saw 28 incumbent MPs lose their slots has left the party fractured. General Secretary of the party, Justin Kodia Frimpong, says the reconciliation will focus on making the party stronger and capable of forming the majority in the 9th Parliament. More on that shortly, but let me show you how things turned out at the weekend for the primaries.
The There were heavy casualties in the battle for parliamentary seats in the New Patriotic Party's constituencies. The areas up for contest had incumbent members of parliament facing stiff opposition from other aspirants. In all, 28 incumbent members of parliament lost their seats, bringing to an end their bid to return to parliament next year. Sarah Adwa Safo is included in that list of incumbent MPs who lost their seats.
Basically, I'm excited. The Meko Abenya people have decided it's a massive victory for the MPP. Going forward, I think what we have to do as a party is to unite all of them, the three candidates and their followers, and we make sure we break the 8. The local people, the constituents themselves are fed up with the honorable member of parliament, and that is what has been translated in this vote that we're seeing today.
For now, Aaron Mike Okoye Jr. has the arduous task of securing the next electoral victory for the New Patriotic Party. Ashanti region, the stronghold of the party, also witnessed a shake-up. Eugene Entry, outspoken member of parliament for Subin, who called for the removal of Ken Ofori-Atta as finance minister, is heading home way earlier than he would have imagined. Tina Na Ayele Mensah, Deputy Health Minister. Bright Reku Probe, Deputy Lands and Natural Resources Minister. Gifty Chum Ampofo, Deputy Minister for Education. Frida Prempe, Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources. And Lariba Abudu, Gender and Social Protection Minister, are some of the government appointees who also lost their seats. But some other appointees were spared. That includes Minister for Trade and Industry and MP for Adansi Asokwa, Kabina Tahir Hammond, who was fiery on election day.
I am the undefeated, undisputed heavyweight champion of politics of Adansi. I remain the champion, undefeated, no champion, no liberty.
Also, Works and Housing Minister Francis Asenso-Boakye, who faced stiff opposition from Ralph Ejapon, clinched onto his parliamentary seat, paving way for him to run for elections later this year.
You were asked to jettison your own son, the true son of Bantman, for someone who does not come from here. But you said no, that will not happen, and that did not happen. But this is MPP. Whenever we are having a contest, we campaign, and after the contest, we come together. So I want to pledge my commitment to a one united MPP that will rally behind Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia for the big battle in 2024.
The New Patriotic Party is hoping that this new mix of old and new candidates will contribute to the party's agenda of breaking the 8-year political cycle and winning victory in the upcoming presidential and parliamentary elections.
Been fraught with monetary inducement, making the process expensive for people who aspire to venture into politics, caused by some civil society organizations and well-meaning Ghanaians to reduce or eliminate monetary influence in Ghana's electoral system has not yielded much results. For former chairman of Ghana's Electoral Commission, Dr. Kojo Afari-Gyan, the dominance of monetary inducement in elections in the country is a shame, adding that it only defeats the fundamental principles of the country's democracy.
What we have now looks like an open market where candidates can freely buy votes and citizens can freely sell their votes in broad daylight, while we all look on seemingly unconcerned. But it is a shameful spectacle.
The just ended MPP's parliamentary primaries is just a tip of the iceberg, but also rekindles a major national concern. The primaries received wide allegations of voter inducement. In the Wejagbawe constituency of the Greater Accra region, delegates alleged that the incumbent MP Tina Mensah influenced voters by sharing 2,000 cedis to them, while her contender Jerry Ahmed paid 200 Ghana cedis. Some beneficiaries of the inducement did not shy away.
Or 27, no more 2000.
There are 110 delegates from my electoral area, but the MP selected only 27 of them and gave each 2,000 cedis. The rest of the delegates didn't get anything, so the little that Jerry Ahmed came to give us, everyone was contented with, so we decided to vote for him.
Delegates who did not benefit were pissed. In the Swami constituency of the Ashanti region, the constituency chairman alleged that the delegates were given 50 cedis by the aspirants so as to secure their votes. Delegates in the Doboya constituency in the Northeast region were also not left out, as there were reports of aspirants sharing motorbikes during the elections. But the Ashanti regional chairman of the party, Bernard Nchibuesiakun Elias Chairman Wuntumi, said the monies given out were to serve as transport for delegates.
So you see nothing wrong with some of these aspirants giving out money to delegates to vote in their favor?
Oh, my brother. You as a journalist, we have to be in reality. Once I'm going, you look for lorry fares. Is it not normal in Ghana? Or you will look for lorry fare, then you say it. So once I'm going, I'll go free.
I want to look for lorry fare from you.
Yes, then I will do that and give everybody a lorry.
So what is your opinion when it comes to delegates taking money from aspirants to?
Nobody is doing that. Nobody is doing that. Now they have voted and finished.
From this justification, it is clear that the country will need to do more than necessary to reduce or eliminate the practice of voter inducement from our body politics.
Sandro's jubilations filled the atmosphere as Kwame Ampedu, the Ablekuma Municipal Electoral Officer, declared the final result of the primaries at the Liberty Park in Dansoman.
Candidate number 1, Osla Gifty Owusu Ekufu, had 817 votes. Candidate number 2, Ronnie Kwesi Noko, had 241. Now, so candidate elect is Madam Esla Owusu Ekufu. By the power vested in me as the municipal electoral officer and on behalf of the Electoral Commission, I declare Esla Owusu Ekufu parliamentary candidate elect for Ablekuma West.
Madam Esla also calling for unity, attributed the victory to hard work, emphasizing the seat retention for the NPP.
I'm not surprised. We've done a lot of work in the constituency, and our executives have reaffirmed their trust and hope in me to retain the seat for the NPP. And I can only tell them that, as my campaign slogan says, it is possible together. Together, we will win and win and win again and break the 8.
What is your message to your opponent?
I wish he had stayed to congratulate me, because that's what is expected of all contestants in there. The contest is over. The delegates have spoken. It is time for us to join forces to do the work of the MPP in this constituency. So I'm welcoming him to join our campaign so that we can forge ahead in unity and retain the seat for the NPP. And we'll do whatever it takes to do that. Somebody has been to Parliament with 3 votes. So the important thing is that we are winning and we are retaining the seat, and we are winning more votes for our presidential candidate, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to break the 8. That, for me, is our focus. NDC is not my focus. I've beaten them 3 times, I'll beat them again.
The district chief executive of Adan East, Sarah Dubaki Pobi, and the MPP's parliamentary candidate for Nkwanta South constituency, Sharifa Setre Tijani, described Esla's victory as inspiring.
Her level of hard work and the strength that she exhibits, it's an admiration to a lot of us. So I'm happy for the results. It has shown that indeed she's a strong woman. She's not just strong, but she's somebody who is an example to the young women that are coming up in politics.
We, the women who are also learning from her, should also be up and doing. And I say congratulations to her.
In response to Robert Kwesi Nicole's concerns about campaign and accreditation, the MPP's Director of Communication, Richard Ahiamba, stated that the party is prepared to address the issue if it is brought to their attention.
If it gets to the party, we refer to a disciplinary committee. They'll look at it. If there are merits in it, it will be looked at. But as far as I know, I have not seen anything that is done here on Todd. And the result will demonstrate to you that it's a unanimous endorsement of the minister. So if it was a close election, then you can make those allegations. But this is a resounding victory. I don't see anything done on Todd. But of course, if it has reason to believe that it's been treated unfairly, by all means, it should appeal that or petition the disciplinary committee for some redress.
Party faithfuls in the Ablekuma West constituency affirmed their determination to maintain the seat for the party in this year's elections. Reporting for Joy News, Carlos Caloni, Ablekuma West constituency, Accra.
So we're going to have time to digest the matters that happened over the weekend. And for a lot of them, the parliamentary primaries was actually their main election because they are just waiting for the roll call on 7th January 2025 to take their seat in parliament. For some of the seats, it is a done deal. But Haruna Mohammed is still here with us. So we're going to go through a lot of things that happened over the weekend. The allegation of vote buying, campaign, and the matters that took place at the Yendi, and then what the party is doing to resolve it once and for all going forward. What about the 5 constituencies that did not elect their candidates for the elections? But let me quickly pick the talks of the General Secretary of the Great Consolidated Popular Party, GCPP, Ato Dagzi, who was at IPAC today. Mr. Dagzi, good afternoon. Welcome to the Pulse.
Good afternoon, Elton.
So you took part in the IPAC meeting today, right?
Yes.
What did you discuss and what conclusion did you come to?
Good afternoon to your chairs, viewers and listeners as well. Today was basically for political parties to present our position on the proposals made by the Electoral Commission to either move the election date from December 7th to a day in November, and also to make the day for the presidential and parliamentary elections a national holiday. These were proposals that the Electoral Commission made to us political parties at IPAC last week, Monday.
Right. So what is the position
today
of
was
GCPP?
just for GCPP. Our position is that moving the date from December 7th to November should be a consideration for the next election in 2028 and not this year. This year, we believe that for us to be certain in our minds as Ghanaians and as political party, and for even the Electoral Commission, we need to concentrate on December 7th because already, if they start the process of changing the date to November, they have to prepare a bill. It has to go to Parliament. It has to go through gazetting, 21 sitting days, and then on the second hearing, they need 2/3 to be able to pass it. We are not sure whether that process will be seamless. Therefore, it will bring some sort of uncertainty in the minds of people. So we should still aim at December 7th for this year. However, consider moving the date a bit further because the EC had already made the argument that when there is a rerun, for instance, they have limited time to be able to do that, maybe if there was a second round option. So these were the positions that different political parties presented, but this was the GCPP position.
So the timing for you is simply not right now. You rather want in 2028. But the question is, are you really going to get this thing off the ground? This proposal was made in 2015. How much time do we need to come to some realization on this?
And that was the surprise for all of us that, okay, so if the EC wanted to make this proposal, how is it that after 2016, when it failed in Parliament, why is it that it didn't come back in 2017 or 2018 or 2019? But to make these changes in an election year and cause uncertainty in the minds of people in the election year, mind you, we have a very porous political system where there is a lot of mistrust. So any changes that we are making in an election year brings a whole lot of confusion. And we believe that at least it's something that we should consider. If, for instance, next year these things, the move for it are considered from next year, I think it's something we should all look at, but not in an election year where we already have a lot of things that we need to deal with. But there was the other issue of making the day a holiday. I think most political parties felt indifferent about it. Whether they make it a holiday or not is indifferent. But for GCPP, our position is that it should be made a national holiday because you need participation. And most people are either working or on days that are not election day. They might be involved in a whole lot. So we believe that to ensure more participation, it should be made a national holiday. In 2020, it was on a Wednesday. However, at IPAC, we felt that it should be a national holiday. We wrote to the presidency, and then they issued an executive instrument to make it a public holiday. And one holiday in 4 years, we don't think it should be.
Absolutely. So my final question before I let you go. So what is the homework for you? Are you going back to the EC on this matter, or is it a closed chapter?
Well, after presenting our positions, the Electoral Commission is now to come back to us to convince us of their calendar for the year, because they didn't present their calendar. So we are not too sure, even if they want to still do this, do they have the time? Because, mind you, it's an election year. Parliament will not have the normal number of sitting. I think we will also be told by Honorable Obi Amor that they'll be going for Easter holidays very soon. So the EC, if you want to go ahead with changing the date to November, need to convince all of us that they are capable of going through all the processes and achieving the result that they need at the end of the day. Then we can back it. But for now, no decision has been taken.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Atugas. He's the General Secretary of the Great Consolidated Popular Party, GCPP. Their position is that they are not in for it in 2024. They will only support it in 2020. Now let's come back to the studio and let's deal with the matters of the MPP. So, Haruna, I saw the videos. There's been allegations of vote buying, campaign. Money clearly played a key role in deciding the outcome of this weekend's parliamentary election. Would you not agree?
Elton, there have been videos, as you have said, but there have not been compelling evidence to support those videos. It is very difficult.
What more do you need to be convinced that some people were bribed to vote the way they did?
Elton, you would know that you did not see any candidate sharing money. You did not see any candidate sharing money, except to hear delegates say she or he did not get this, he had. So these are matters that is based on conjecture, which cannot be confirmed, because these aspirants in question who are perceived to be buying the vote are not directly involved in this particular matter. We are not seeing them executing these vote buying allegations. And it is very difficult. How do you measure vote buying? Measuring it, there has not been any appropriate standard that you measure to say that what this person is doing or what this person is saying amounts to vote buying. You hear some of them say that they are giving them transport. You can't dispute the fact that the person is giving the person transport.
We've heard figures like 5,000, 10,000 for transport.
I'm happy you said you heard.
It's like traveling to Burkina Faso or Mali.
Yes, it depends upon how generous somebody is going to be to give transportation. If I'm giving you transportation from here to Circle, and I know maybe it's 50 pesos, and I decide to give you 1,000 Ghana cedis, clearly means that my generosity is very high.
But it is coming from somebody who is contesting an election. So clearly the motive will be
it is perceived to be coming from somebody who is contesting an election because that person is not directly involved. This era we have this electronic world. We have these AI systems. This artificial intelligence. People are using people's voices. Why can't people use people's names? Or people even print ballot or pictures of people and paste them on items and distribute them just to have these people's names be in a very bad light. So these are matters we cannot confirm. These remains allegations until we dig behind the scenes to be able to identify persons behind that so that we can actually confirm as a political party. We, the MPP, frowns on vote buying, and we have made it publicly. In going into the elections, we have what we give to the delegates. In fact, in our party, it is only when they congregate to conduct an election exercise that we call them delegates, but they are officers of the party. So we don't have a category of people called delegates. At a point in time, the function you execute gives you that name, but they are officers of the party.
But Haruna, I mean, this has become a regular feature in our internal politics. I mean, as a party, you should be worried about it. You are a deputy general secretary. You may want to move up to a contestable election or a contestable position in the future. Now, this thing is becoming regular. It started some years back. Now it's becoming institutionalized.
Starting is the most important thing. So buy a Peloton bike or Bike Plus today and get 2 months free Peloton membership. Starting made easy with thousands of classes to choose from.
My name is Cody Rigsby. Welcome to your low impact rides.
Taught by instructors that take the guesswork out of working out.
I'm here for you every step of the way.
And Peloton Entertainment, so you can watch your favorite shows and live sports as you ride. Shop our limited time offers at onepeloton.com/deals. Terms apply.
In our body politics, you should be worried as a party.
Let's say it's becoming more rampant, but it is not institutionalized because all political parties frowns on vote buying. People who are executing or practicing that is being perceived in the media landscape has to be investigated. Because all of us, as we said, if it is actually true that this is what is being perpetrated, that these persons are engaged in this and it becomes so expensive, then it means that if I seek to occupy a political position, it will become difficult for me. But these are things that are being conducted, things that are being perceived, things that are being posted without a package of evidence to be able to dig out people behind that. For me, I will be all for it, for us to fight the monetization of political systems. However, we have to do it very critically to ensure that we don't hang people just for the sake of perception, but we must do so based on fact.
But nevertheless, are you going to look into the allegations that have come up so far?
Our party has reporting procedures. We have disciplinary and grievance procedures. How matters are reported to the party. We have sent people to the constituency levels. We have also sent people to the regional levels, i.e. from national and to constituencies from regional. These persons will submit reports to the national
You don't
party.
have it yet?
They will submit reports to us.
It happened
we don't
this
have
weekend.
Those. Yes,
okay.
I just returned from Eastern region, and I went for my first program and had to rush to Joy to have this.
In the Eastern region where you supervise the election, did you come across anything of a sort?
Not at all. Not that.
There was no allegation of vote buying.
My eye has not even seen any shred of such vote buying incidents.
But shouldn't the party rather take care of this, transport fares for delegates instead of allowing the aspirants to take advantage
Too
of the
much
situation?
of meat doesn't spoil the soup because the party gives. If somebody decides that he's going to give you some assistance in terms of transport, as you sit in this studio, you are paid by multimedia.
Right.
If somebody decides that they get you something at the end of the month for a show of generosity or something that you have done better, I don't think that it is going to cause any harm. So there are always ways of people supporting, but we must always define a certain standard that will be able to measure this attitude of vote buying.
Let me find out if Edem Senanu is convinced by your explanation. Mr. Senanu, you're welcome to the pulse. If you can unmute for me, Mr. Senanu, he is anti-corruption campaigner. Adam, you're welcome.
I'm actually unmuted.
All right. So you've been listening to Haruna, convinced by his explanation?
No, I'm not convinced. It is not sufficient for the party to have the reporting system. They should be, as a party that frowns upon vote buying, they should be scanning the public domain, social media, collecting any such information and proactively investigating it. I think what frightens me the most is when he says that too much meat does not spoil the soup.
Yes.
I mean, this is not about taking local proverbs when we have an explicit law that says that this is a criminal activity. The distribution of money or resources by a political party or candidate to voters in an upcoming election is called vote buying. And to the extent that voters in an upcoming election can confirm that they received whatever type of resources or money, it means that criminal activity has occurred. Let us not begin to treat.
He says there's no evidence. He says there's no evidence that.
Yeah, and I'm saying that since he just came back from the Eastern region, he cannot tell that there's no evidence altogether. He should take his time. He should slow down. He should check social media, check all his correspondence, and be sure before he comes out to the public and say there's absolutely no evidence.
It's an insult to the
people. No, you can come in if you have a reaction to that.
Yeah, I think it's an insult to the people of Eastern region. Eastern region, once you are there, you watch the national television. You see, so social media is not only limited to Greater Accra. Mm-hmm. It's not limited to Accra. So wherever I am, I think that I watch social media. And in fact, I am the national coordinator for detailing of persons to all the centers. Mm-hmm. The General Secretary has entrusted all this to me to coordinate that. So if you say I have to take time to be able to view the social media, I think it's an insult to the people of Eastern region. Eastern region.
But he says that perhaps your response is premature. You should take time to get all the reports that you claim that you are waiting.
You can't quickly go in and make judgmental. When something just happened on Saturday, somebody is telling you that he's supposed to take this particular money, he heard somebody is doing that, then you conclude that it is true. As I already said, I say it, if we sit in this studio and we are told that it's raining outside, it is not our duty to amplify the rain. It is our duty to open the window and check whether it is actually raining. That is what we have to do. So if you call that the parties must go behind to be able to do proper investigation, I agree with that. But to say that because somebody has so reported, we should agree to that fact, I don't think that is something that we have to agree to.
I don't know what Haruna is talking about, because I haven't said you should agree to anything. I've just said take your time and investigate. The reverse psychology attempt to say it's an insult will not work here. There is no insult being said here. Take the dictionary. Fact is that there is a law in Ghana. If anybody breaches that law, the person is said to have engaged in criminal activity. I'm saying take your time, cross-check. Don't be in a hurry to say nothing of that sort has happened, because we have seen all kinds of reports, branded boxes with names and so on and so forth. Until somebody has done the investigation and say, oh, we checked, this is a fake, it is artificial intelligence, or so on and so forth. For now, most of us who've seen things on social media and heard the reportage will not be sure that what he's saying, he has not provided facts to back what he's saying. So I'm sorry, Mr. Haruna, do the investigation, come and tell us that in the instance of this report and that report, these are your findings, and then all Ghanaians will be comfortable. This is not about rushing to say that nothing has happened.
What is the solution? I mean, I guess you've heard this question countless number of times. What really can we do to put it? Otherwise, then we are selling the seas to the highest bidder.
And I agree with you. I think that if all the political parties, each time these issues came up, the first response will not be to say it is not true, but to be able to say we are aware of incident A, where it is reported that Mr. B did so and so. We have asked this committee or group of people to investigate. These are their findings. And based on those findings, this is our conclusion. A very systematic approach to dealing with these issues in the public domain will help all of us begin to go to tease between, okay, this is a fake, this is real, it happened or not. If we are all very thorough and systematic whenever issues of vote buying or corruption come up, it will allow all of us to move forward knowing that we are serious about dealing with it and we are not going to countenance these things happening in our public space. And as it were, ruining the democratic credentials that we have as a country.
The thing is that the people we are electing them to go to parliament and make laws. The allegations are they are breaking it even before they get there.
They are very, very worried. That is why the allegations must be investigated. What it means is that you have a system. Abroad, when these issues come up, it's not just about the talk. There must be a system in place. Mind you, I know that, I don't know whether it was last year, I think the Office of the Special Prosecutor took up one of these election-related cases in a similar vein.
Yeah,
there are some institutions.
That is the DCE for, I think, the Dwabin District Assembly.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They've gone to court. They've advanced on this matter, and hopefully very soon.
Fantastic.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So we need more of such actions, because I think at the moment we are all toying with this issue. People just say, "Oh, this is nothing." After all, if you come, this is what we do traditionally. But law is law. Don't begin to confuse local customs or traditions and practices with it. We don't want this to be done, because we know if persons enter by spending money, the first recourse when they get into positions of authority will be, I must get my money back.
Absolutely.
And the logic is so clear that all of us must begin to take it very seriously. And I'm glad at least the Office of the Special Prosecutor is taking up one. Let's hope that many more will be taken up by anti-corruption agencies, so that people begin to take this issue very seriously. We cannot have people entering positions of trust, public trust, by paying their way into it. It will have a serious implication on their tenure of office.
Elam, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us on this very important subject. But as we come back to the studio, Haruna, if you have a response, then we can move to the other aspect of the elections over the weekend.
Yes. I still repeat, there has not been any law that has been broken. Because there has not been any court or competent court of jurisdiction that has pronounced that this law has been broken. If anybody feels that he has adequate evidence to be able to prosecute that, proceed to the court. For him asking us to do investigation, we agree, yes, we will do investigation, but I can't sit here and then just to hear that or see somebody is displaying pictures of persons put on screens, or somebody saying that Elton has given 1,000 cedis and I did not get it, and then therefore the person has broken a law. No, who there says that? It must be said by the court. Yes, once there is a law, it's not an individual that determines that the law has been broken.
So therefore, you only go into this matter if there is a complaint with evidence.
Yes, but
in the absence of that, you will not waste your time on public sentiments.
Like I said, we have people that we have sent to the field. He himself is also worried about what is happening. He's calling for investigation. We have heard him as a political party. But to sit here, just because video is played, just because a picture is displayed, just because somebody says that monies were given to so and so and I did not get, it amounts to vote buying and a law is broken. I don't think that is appropriate.
You will not accept that?
I would not think that should be appropriate.
So investigation will not be conducted based on public sentiments?
Yes.
Unless there's evidence?
Unless there's clear evidence. And that is the game. We are living in a democracy and we can't just hang people. Even if somebody is sent to the court, the person is not pronounced guilty until the court decides so and says it. And so you can't just say the person has committed that crime. The person is alleged to have committed a crime. But you can't sit and pronounce judgment immediately. We don't do so.
Let's talk about Yendi. What reports have you received?
We are yet to receive incident reports from the Electoral Commission and the Ghana Police Service, who are doing the representation for us in terms of security arrangement, in terms of the electoral reporting. And we also have our regional and national officers who have gone. We expect to see a written report on that.
So you don't have any report from Yendi as we speak?
We have not received a written report from them, and we also await incidents reports.
So therefore, what is the status of the Yendi parliamentary primary?
Until we get those ones, we've sent them, and then we will expect to get these written reports from them.
So until the report comes, there's no election, or because we understand that
election.
The third vice chair declared Aliu Mahama as the winner.
There was election.
Are you holding him as a winner as we
I'm
speak
saying
now?
that there was election in Yendi. If you say there was election was conducted, everything had ended. Some issues came up at the time of counting. That's why I'm saying that we are waiting to get incidents reports from these three bodies that I've mentioned. and our national officers who represented the national party were there. The Electoral Commission was the one in charge of the elections, and then the police was in charge of security.
I asked because until the report came, what kind of description are you giving what happened in the end?
When it comes, we'll report to you.
So therefore what? Has somebody won or is suspended? The outcome is suspended.
I'm saying that when the report comes, we'll speak to you.
And also the CTFM reporter is claiming that he was assaulted by the Member of Parliament for Yendi.
And I also saw a rejoinder that the Member of Parliament for Yendi said he did not assault the reporter. So, and I believe that this is fair in journalism. There's a report and there's a rejoinder to that.
The Electoral Commission Director of Election, Dr. Asibu Koku, says that as far as the EC is concerned, no election took place in Yendi.
He did not say so. If you can read what.
Okay, so if I may paraphrase it, they cannot call it.
That they have no call.
Exactly.
Yes, that is it. So for that one, that's why I'm saying we are waiting to receive an incident report from them.
So until that comes, you will still operate with the fact that
the party has always communicated to the media through some level of communication, and I want to restrict myself to this official communication.
But generally, what is your assessment of the entire exercise over the weekend?
I think that this is a plus to the New Patriotic Party. We have conducted presidential primaries very successfully. We have also conducted the orphan constituencies very successfully. This particular one too, very successful, even though we have hitches in terms of we have 100 constituencies, and out of that 100, we are seeing this just in one constituency. So it means that it represents a very minute percentage of the current happenings within the political landscape in terms of the conduct of the elections. Generally, it has been very peaceful. The party has been very satisfactory in terms of the conduct of the people. And I want to stand here and extend my greetings to the polling station executives, the electoral area coordinators, constituency executives, Council of Elders and Council of Patrons across all the 100 constituencies we conducted these elections, and the regional executives as well as national officers who are assigned to all the 15 regions that we conducted these elections. I want to stand on behalf of my boss and the national chairman of the party to say a kudos to them and thank you for that service. I also want to use this opportunity to thank the Ghana Police Service who have exhibited a level of professionalism, and also the Electoral Commission of Ghana who have continuously assisted in terms of their role in conducting elections for political parties in this country. I think that they did very well for us within this particular space.
What is the status of the 5 other constituencies that election did not take place? Sunyani East, Elembele, Binduri, Mampong. What are you doing about it?
There are 4 places that election did not take place. If you look at Binduri was an unopposed constituency, a constituency that we were not conducting election, but rather to do an acclamation. One of the contestants who was disqualified decided to go to court. After having gone through the systems of the party, he decides that he goes to court. As a law-abiding party, will follow through to the court and get this matter resolved. So in actual fact, election was not going to be conducted in Binduri, which did not form part of the 104 constituencies.
Same for Mampong.
For the 33. If you look at Agona West, Agona West was a place that we were conducting elections. One of the persons who was disqualified did not avail himself to an appeal, but decided to go to court. The party will show a representation to defend that. If you look at Mampong, Mampong too is also an injunction that was placed. The party takes steps to make sure that we go to court in response to that. Obuasi West was also injuncted, and this matter is also being investigated. Will also be followed up in the court to ascertain the veracity of that. Akwapim South was put on hold by the National Party following a request from the constituency through the region, and these ones too is to give us the ample time to do adequate consultation to arrive at a particular conclusion.
Sunyani
East, this is a constituency that we have kept on hold.
My former constituency. My former constituency.
Yes, it's a constituency that has been in court for some time. Court pronounced judgment at a point in time. The party sent a committee called the Anyimedu Committee. They went in there, brought their report to National Council. National Council sent 3-member committee for which I was the secretary to that committee. We went and also came back with a report. Then the National Executive Committee then issued a directive for appointment of acting officers for the party, which has been done. And after this election, the party will move in We have directed that we are going to use the 2018 album that was used for the conduct of elections at the parliamentary and then the constituency level at the constituency in 2018. So this album will be used for the conduct of the elections.
And all the parties, they've accepted it?
Yes, they've accepted that. This has duly been communicated. After the NEC meeting, the General Secretary signed on to that particular decision, and this has wholly been accepted. And very soon we'll move to the constituency to make sure that this album is being validated to ensure that these elections for Sunyani East is being conducted so that the party will have a candidate in that area.
My final question before I let you go. So you witnessed 28 of sitting MPs, they lost their bid to continue in Parliament. And already, before going into election, you had over, I think, 19 or 20,
yeah,
19, they've decided that they don't want to continue their parliamentary business again. And so you have almost 47 experienced MPs who either by virtue of their own volition or to seek election, or they lost the primaries. How did that come to you? Surprise, or you think that this rather galvanized the base of the party ahead of the December elections?
Elton, we would have wished to see them continue to be in Parliament. And if we were to have all old members of Parliament to be in Parliament, by this time we would have been seeing Hawaii Akubu, we would have been seeing J.H. Mensah, we would have been seeing Hagman Oswajiman, Papa Uswankuma, and the many other MPs who have exhibited courage and that respect and intelligence in the House of Parliament. These persons have taken the back seat, and new persons have come in. These persons are also taking the back seat and allowing the new ones to come. We all know in this country we don't have a school for parliamentary business.
No.
It is when you get in there. And I always say it, the number of years you serve, it does not amount to your experience. You can be a 1-year-old in a particular business setup on an entity, and you have much more experience than somebody who has stayed in that business for more than 20 years. So we expect that these people that have been elected by the delegates of our party to represent us will learn fast on the job.
I remember, I won't cut you, but I remember, I was a parliamentary correspondent for one term, and I lost my teeth. But TV decided that they will let somebody take that problem. You need to. So I remember, I think this was when the 7th Parliament came. I think I was going when I got a call from 2 MPs. And then the conversation was that they had a meeting with the Speaker. The Speaker had told them that get in touch with some of the parliamentary correspondents. They know the rules more than even people who sit in the chamber. Go and learn from them. And so more or less you became like teachers to the new MPs. So I understand you. And I hope that they learn fast on the job. But again, you have 137 MPs in Parliament, in the current Parliament. You need your numbers to prosecute government business on the floor. Here is the case: you have people who may have been disappointed by the outcome of the election. The enthusiasm may no longer be there. What is the party doing to whip them up so that you have all of them participate fully on the business of the floor?
I know that these members of Parliament are much aware of a clause in the party's constitution where they are told to publicly uphold the decisions of the party. You've contested an election, you have lost. Does not mean that your membership of the party has changed. Does not also say that your tenure of office as member of Parliament has also ended.
Yes.
You still have government business to carry through. Yes, it has been very painful to lose election, but there has always been 2 options to election. Either you win or you lose. And as a national party, we call on them to remind themselves that there is a duty to be carried through. And we can only win 2024 general elections to break the 8 if we have a collective effort. And I call on all of them to put the elections behind them and look ahead to ensure that they give more support to the New Patriotic Party. They give support to Parliament to ensure that the resounding victory we await on the 7th of December or the 7th of November, should this be agreed, so that it will be sworn in at the Black Star Square.
Then when is next meeting to consider the running mate?
My boss will decide that.
You mean the flag bearer of the party?
The General Secretary, together with the National Chairman, who calls for meeting.
There's no time?
The timeline has not been put on this one, but timelines were put when the elections were being run. After the elections is finished, the National Chairman of the party, together with the leader of the party, would take a decision to call.
When to call the flag bearer to provide the name?
To provide which name?
The name for the running mate.
Oh, I thought we were talking about NEC meeting.
No, I mean it is the NEC that will call. And I think at the last meeting,
for the running mate,
at the last meeting, the vice president demanded time.
Yeah, for
now the parliamentary primaries is over. That is
for the running mate. It has to be done at National Council.
Okay,
and which is the second highest decision-making body. He was granted time. I believe that when he exhausts the time, he will come back to National Council for a decision to be made.
All right, thank you very much.
He will be speaking on 7th of February.
All right.
Yes, he will speak.
And you hope that by that time the running mate will be out or after?
He's going to speak to outline his vision. Because since we finished the elections, His Excellency the Vice President and the next President of the Republic of Ghana hasn't spoken. And he's going to make a point to bear to the people of Ghana his vision.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Milton.
Mohammed, for coming through.
Thank you for
having me. We wish the party the very best as you head towards the elections in December.
I use the opportunity to call on multimedia to support us. To get,
you've always been supportive of all the political parties.
I'm calling for ours. Support us to break the 8. And I believe that we're giving you the media freedom. We extend that to include many more other support systems that will expand and engender media freedom.
Right, Haruna Mohammed is the Deputy General Secretary of the MPP. This is The Pulse with me, Elton, but we're taking a short break and we'll be back. Welcome back, and let's take a quick flight to the Ashanti Regional Capital, Kumasi, and to Manhyia Palace to be precise. Nana Boakye Danquah Yiadom joins because the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the party, Bernard Mtibwe Siakon, also known as Chairman Wontumi, appeared before the Asanteman Council to answer for charges leveled against him. Nana Boakye Yiadom was at the Otumfuo Court, where the Ashanti Regional Chair Wontumi appeared before the chiefs, and he has the very latest. Nana Boakye, you're welcome. And how did it go?
Well, it was a smooth process today. You would recall that last week, when the Kumasi Traditional Council did sit on this same issue, this derogatory remarks allegedly made by the Chairman Wontumi against the Asante Hene. Today, they called for Chairman Wontumi to appear before the Kumasi Traditional Council. Chairman Wontumi came along with the National Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Stephen Intim, Justice Mpimpong Kudia, General Secretary of the MPP, the Chieftaincy Minister, Stephen Asamoah Boateng, Majority Leader Osei Chairman Sabonsu, and the Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei Mensah. Well, they came along with Chairman Wontumi to face the Kumasi Traditional Council. Well, the Bantamahini Bafo Amankwetia, the Sith, represented the Asante Hene during the sitting today, where we could hear from Koko Sohini Nana Kwekudia, who is also one person on the other side to give a statement or to stand in as a witness what transpired during the NPP parliamentary primaries, which brought up all these issues. And also we could hear from Chairman Wontumi as well. Well, for Koko Sohini Nana Kwekudia, who came in as a witness to what transpired during the sitting, he said that the claims out there are true and that Chairman Wontumi did indeed or emphatically make some derogatory remarks against the Asante Hene. Well, he says the claim made by Chairman Wontumi that he owns a kingdom does not reflect the customs and tradition of the Ashanti region. Hence, the need to have cautioned him during that time of the vetting. But then Chairman Wontumi did not heed to the concerns that he was raising at the moment. Well, Chairman Wontumi was also given the chance to give a side of the story. He denied the allegations leveled against him and said that they are malicious and they do not reflect what truly transpired during the vetting process.
So therefore, what conclusion did they come to?
Well, Bafo Uso Amankwetia did set Chairman Wontumi free and asked that he leave without any charges being leveled against them. Well, the case has been trashed as it stands. Well, the Kumasi Traditional Council would therefore want to focus on the 25th anniversary celebration of the Otumfuo State, which is next month. And so they would not want to take up any matter or any issue which will bring down this whole anniversary come February.
So they came to this conclusion because of a lack of evidence, or they just didn't want to pursue it any longer?
Well, the Koko Sohini did not really provide evidence to back his claims. Not to drag the matter so much, that's according to Bafo Uso Amankwetia, not to really make this issue big, and to also give time for the traditional council to prepare ahead of Otumfuo's anniversary. They would want them to settle their score without the Asantehene's name being involved, because the Kokosoni indeed could not provide evidence to back his claims.
So basically, it was more like a hearsay or allegation against allegation, but no evidence to back any of them.
Exactly, Elton. There was no evidence whatsoever to back the claims the Kokosoni made against Chairman Wontumi. And in fact, they did not really want to stretch the matter, because without evidence, there's no need to continue the case. Hence the need for the Bantu Mahini and the traditional council to come to that conclusion.
All right, so the chapter is closed.
Well, as it stands, the chapter is closed. They would want to pursue the anniversary of Otumfuo rather than continue with this matter, because in the first place, there is no evidence to back the claims.
All right, so Nana Bawuatey-Yiadom, thank you very much for bringing us that update from the Manhyia Palace. And the news is that the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the governing MPP, Bernard Antwi Boasiakun, also known as Chairman, who has been set free by the Ashanti-Man Council. He was there to answer, to respond to allegations that he disrespected the authority of the Ashanti. But from the traditional court, let's move to the constitutional court, because 12 persons, including the then assemblyman for the Dencho Boase, will spend the rest of their lives in prison for their roles in the brutal murder of young soldier Major Mahama some 7 years ago. I'm sure you remember this incident gripped the entire nation. Major Mahama, who had been assigned to provide security at a mining firm in Dencho Boase in the western region, had left his military detachment base to go for a 20-kilometer jog on the 29th of May 2017. He was accosted by a mob who assaulted him till he died. It's been 7 years, but an Accra High Court today, presided over by a justice of the Supreme Court, handed down the judgment, sentencing the 12 persons to life in imprisonment. Kenneth Jesse was in court today and he joins me in the studio. Tell us how things happened in court today.
Right, Elton, as you rightly mentioned, the Supreme Court Judge Mariam Mawusi, who presided over the case, passed life sentence into 12 of them, including then Assemblyman of the area, William Barr, for conspiracy to commit murder and then murder. William Barr was charged with abetment of murder and murder, with remaining 11 charged with conspiracy to commit murder and murder, with 2 being freed, that is Bismarck Adongo, and then another Bismarck, and then after that, the mother of the late Major Mahama was very emotional. She had actually written a speech to deliver
in court.
Like after the proceedings, she came out, had a speech in her hands. I mean, just a few seconds into the speech, she couldn't talk again, so she had to give it to one of her sons to continue the speech. And the speech basically said that she's very pleased with the judgment. She thanks God that justice has finally been served for her late fallen soldier. And then the father of Major Mahama also said that he's also happy with the judgment, but is calling on the Ghana Police Service to look for the rest of the perpetrators of that gruesome murder and prosecute them as well, because according to him, there were more than 12 people that, killed his son on that fateful day. So his father was okay with the judgment, but called on the security forces to do more and get the rest of the perpetrators brought to book.
What reason did the court give for the other 2 who were set free?
The other 2, they were found not guilty of all the charges that were leveled against them. So they were basically found not guilty at all. With the 12, including the then assemblyman, I mean, he was found to have aided in the murder of the fallen soldier, Major Mahama.
All right, thank you very much, Kenneth, for coming through. The news just in is that the 12 individuals who were arraigned before the court for their roles in the murder of Major Mahama some 7 years ago, the court finally came to a decision today, and the 12, they've been sentenced to life in imprisonment. That is the news coming from the court this evening. Now, to some other stories, and in the devastating turn of events, economic activities in the physical town of Seikope, the North Ton district, have ground to a standstill just 4 days after the collapse of the Aklakpa River Bridge. The incident occurred when a heavily laden truck carrying loads of salt attempted to traverse the bridge, leading to its structural failure. The bridge, a vital lifeline for the local community, connected Seikope to neighboring areas like Adidome and Guapon and facilitated the transportation of goods and people. The collapse has left residents, motorists, and travelers frustrated as they grapple with the sudden disruption to their daily lives. Ivy Setoji visited the community and has come to with this report.
This is Seikope in the North Tongue district, and behind me is the Aklakpa River. And 5 days ago, the bridge collapsed, making activities, especially business activities, come to a standstill. Now, most of the residents, travelers and motorists have to park at the other side, take a boat to wherever they are going. This actually leads to Drapo from Adidome. What the residents are asking government to do is for an immediate action to be taken as soon as possible to get the bridge fixed. One of the residents we spoke to earlier said that maybe it was a way God is just showing the government something, or a way to make the government wake up to do something about the bridge, because it has been in a bad shape for some time now. So the residents are asking government to urgently do something about this bridge, fix it immediately, because as you can see at the back, the truck is still in the water. The owners are trying their best to fix it.
Residents, travelers and motorists, including Okada riders, have been speaking with Joy News.
The government should at least help us as quickly as possible, because especially the children, imagine the children crossing it. It's not a nice experience at all.
Honestly, I didn't think I would meet this on the way. For the fact it's not my first time on the queue, so I wasn't really scared about it. But the bridge there hasn't been negotiated for a long time, so I think this is just, since we like action, this is just the best action we can take for prompt care to be taken.
And actually seeing this horrified situation is a little bit tough for me. And today too is the first time I'm crossing this kind of river with a canoe, and I think all these things couldn't have happened if maybe structural tests should be done, should be doing about this thing. I think this shouldn't have happened. And then moreover too, the government should just speed up and then fix it up so that people can access the road.
And me too, I feel what I let. So when I was on the canoe, I was seriously afraid. Maybe somebody can fall into this water and lose his or her life. So I plead with the government of Ghana to do something about the bridge. That will help the people, not only the people, but everybody.
Jamie complain lenti vuga kestela. Ke wiki jvaje happy over for ngi. Ema manu after all, tan bridge agbele ge mi le blog kan be do we. Nka ami ama do ma le dogo. If you agbele school yo han wole fopam. School yo fopam ne tan ngi be wole quickly never win any pattern. Ala be school ge man up to now. We are hoping
the government does something about the situation as early as possible. My name is Ivy Setoji for News.
I will stay no longer with matters of this nature because she lost her father in a horrific car accident in 2019. 2 years later, her 7-year-old brother was also killed by a speeding vehicle. This is the sad story of 15-year-old Mary Menu. Mary has turned trauma into inspiration, an inspiration that has birthed the development of a device that could help lessen the bloodshed on Ghana's motorways. Joy News Prime Lois Shola Adeyemi has more in the following report.
This is the Aflao Tema Highway. This stretch has claimed many lives, including Mary's father, a sleepy driver who killed him in a terrible head-on collision in 2019.
I
I lost my dad through road accidents. The report that came out was that the driver was dozing off. So the accident happened in such a way that my father was coming from Togo to Ghana with some friends. And then a car was coming in front of their car. So they were trying to dodge the car, but unfortunately it collided. Then my father passed away sadly.
The accident stole the young lady's source of joy and left her with a heavy load of traumatic experiences.
When I lost my dad, when I heard the news, I decided to stop schooling because my dad was my favorite person in the world. And then without him, I'm like nothing. So I decided to stop schooling because when I go to school and then I see my friends that bringing them to school, then I start crying. Or I decide to take my bag and go home. So it hasn't been easy since I lost my dad. It has been 3 years now, but still when I see other people with their dad, I still feel sad.
As if that was not enough, Mary's scars were pierced by another tragic accident. Her 7-year-old brother was also killed by a speeding vehicle. But in the darkness emerged a story of resilience and hope. Mary found strength in her grief.
Because of pain. So when I saw that, I promised my mom that I will not let anyone in my family go through that pain again. So I want to be a surgeon to help everyone who wants to be operated to be free from injuries, so that we will promote healthy living and then families can live together without losing any loved ones through accidents. When G-STEP came to our schools, that anything like what we want to invent, any idea, we can bring it out. So I and my friends decided to design a motor and a car accident control device. And the name of the device is Anti-Sleep Alarm for Motorists.
She and her colleagues of Young Innovators are working hard to reduce the carnage on Ghana's roads with this new device.
This device alerts drivers whenever they are dozing off when driving. So this device is programmed and designed in such a way that the eye blink sensor coordinates the eye and then detects when the driver is dozing off. So after it has detected that the driver is dozing off, the buzzer starts to beep. And if the buzzer beeps for some time and then the driver regains consciousness, he or she is good to go. But when the buzzer continues to beep and then the driver does not regain consciousness, the car will slow down and stop automatically. After that, our GSM module in the car will send an SMS and then also the location of the driver to any emergency contact on the driver's phone that is inactive for his or her loved ones to come and rescue him.
According to data from the Motor Traffic and Transport Department, MTTD, of the Ghana Police Service, road accidents increased by 5.5% in 2023, raising serious safety concerns. Mary believes their project, when given the needed attention, could help to reduce the current trend. Mary may have lost her dear ones to road accidents, but she and her teammates are resolute in changing the narrative with their invention. Lois Shola Adeyemi's report for Joy Prime.
Well, that's it for today's edition of the Pulse here on Joy News. Also, stories log on to our website, myjoyonline.com. We have more stories also on Top Story on Joy 99.7 on Newsnight as well. And then we also have Joy News Prime at 7 p.m. where we have more stories for you. Just stay on. My name is Elton Brobe. See you tomorrow on another exciting edition. Have a good evening.
Yeah, so the winner